Louisiana Beer Reviews, Special Edition number 28, Busch Light Revisited. The born on date here says November 3rd, 2012. So it's about 4 months old. It's not the freshest beer, but in the can, it should be okay. Barley malt, select grains, hops, yeast, and water. They've changed the website recently, I noticed in the last week or two, and now they don't detail which imported hops and domestic hops. The old website did. It's coming in at 4.1% alcohol. I noticed some literature I have from back in 1996, 97 was 4.2. It's a minor adjustment. I noticed I was doing some comparisons of a lot of Anheuser-Busch brands, and their alcohol levels have changed over the years. Let's check this out again. Gets a poor rating on Beer Advocate. It gets a woeful rating on Rate Beer, a non-applicable. In other words, the rating's so low it doesn't score. And it gets a 0 out of 100 for the style, which to me is ridiculous. You got to watch it when you check out the beer websites, review websites for light lagers. You're going to get really ridiculously low ratings, mostly because of people that reviewed beers on those sites. They don't like light beer, so they don't really review according to the style. They just slam it. The Beer and Me gives it a fine rating, which would average to about a C. So I have it in this Anheuser-Busch tasting glass. We have, like you'd expect, most American style lagers, light lagers, and the regular premium lagers are thick. You know, they're going to have a thick white head and a clear, bubbly straw appearance. And this one is very light. Busch Light was introduced in 1989 and then rolled out nationally in 1990. Okay, it is a very popular beer. I had a little trouble finding it though. I went to 2 service stations, they didn't have it. I went to the grocery store and they had it in all different types of configuration, 12-ounce bottles and different size cans. It's more like a grocery store beer than a gas station beer, I think. You do see some fine particles floating about. We have direct sunlight right there at 80 degrees and 80-degree angle, and you're going to pick up fine floating matter in any beer, really, in direct sunlight. And this is no exception. All right, so it looks nice. I think looks like Busch Light, and Busch, the regular Busch isn't much darker. Regular Busch is now they're saying 4.3% alcohol. Older materials say 4.6, so somewhere in the mid fours. All right, let's check out the aroma. I couldn't decide when I was debating whether to get a bottle or a can, but the cans were a little better priced, so I got a 6-pack of 16-ounce cans. It was after tax $5.97. That's not super low, but you know, Anheuser-Busch jacked the prices up around 5 years ago. The aroma is fresh, clean, sweet, mild, nothing offensive. Just smells like a well-made light beer. Let's go with the taste. Yeah, very light, faint barley malt, faint breadiness, faint grains. A little paperiness there. That's probably the grain husks. But really just getting sweet grain, water, and just a faint touch of hops. Uh, Schlitz might have a kiss of the hops. This might have a ghost of the hops. The mouthfeel is light and watery, and the finish is crisp, clean, refreshing, and dry. Although I have to say, this, just like Busch, it does have some body to it. It does. It's light body, but it has body. I prefer, of the 3, and I have never done Busch NA. I've never tried Busch non-alcoholic, but of the 3 alcoholic Busch beers, I prefer the Busch Ice the most because it's bolder and stronger, and all of that. But I like all three a lot. I think it's well crafted. Anheuser-Busch takes a lot of time with their beers, I think. I know there's a lawsuit right now, people claiming that they have been deceptive with their alcohol level and are not putting as much alcohol as the websites and bottles and cans proclaim. Cans don't usually have the ABV on it, but some do. To me, that doesn't seem right. And I mean, the validity of the lawsuit seems that can't be right. I don't see why any company would be insane to do something like that, especially Anheuser-Busch InBev got such a history of brewing. Like the company said, it's natural. They brew their beers naturally, no additives or preservatives. So there's gonna be a slight variation in the ABV from beer to beer. It's not gonna be great, but it'll be slight. And you have this variation over the last 20 years in the ABV. There's not much standard deviation, but there is some. Um, I would say one more thing about that. I looked, and Philip Fabian sent me this. The current bottles of Hurricane are 6% Hurricane malt liquor. But I noticed on the newest Anheuser-Busch website, I think it's called Know Your Brews or something, I can't remember. They're saying 5.8. I don't know if that's just a mistake or if they've changed it because they noticed that it was a little lower. But I noticed a lot on that website. There were a lot of errors, and some of it was obviously cut and pasted from the main Busch website, Anheuser-Busch website. So they probably rushed this out to respond to the lawsuit, and there could be some. I noticed errors on it. Definitely noticed errors, but it's interesting because they detail all their beers, and they have some beers on there I've never even heard of. So I'd like to get a hold of some of those obscure brands. But anyway, I'm glad I revisited this. I never, rarely drink Busch, and I can't get Busch Ice here, and I don't really drink light beer anyway, so I don't really fool with Busch Light. But if you're looking for a good mellow light beer, and if you're one that likes light beer, and most people in the world that drink beer like light beer, being it's the most popular brand on earth, style on earth, I think Busch Light is a real winner. Um, so the price is not terrifically low, but it's competitive, fairly competitive. For beer overall, I give it a B. I mean, it's good. It's a good beer, really. For light beer, I'll be inclined to give it an A, really, because it's such a well done light beer, and I'm always so impressed by Anheuser-Busch because all the beers they make are so well done and so fine tuned. Really, I like that about Anheuser-Busch. Their beers are just so finely tuned, and their consistency level is incredible. Not you get a lot of these craft beers and they're not fine tuned. They vary so much from batch to batch, but you don't encounter that with Anheuser-Busch, and you won't encounter that with any of the Busch lines. So, les bon temps roulé. This is a most excellent light beer and a pretty good beer in general. So I'm going to end this review by saying y'all come on down to southeastern Louisiana.